Eamon, thank you so much for joining me on the Long Haul podcast. This is my debut, and I could not think of someone more fitting to have on as my very first guest. So, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to speak with me.
Thank you, Áine. Delighted to be on.
So, I'm sure our New York listeners are very familiar with your name, but just in case we have any new listeners or listeners from other states, I'm just going to give a brief introduction to who you are. Eamon is the New York Games manager and is highly involved in all aspects of GAA in New York, from underage teams to senior teams. He is probably one of the busiest men in New York. Anytime I go up to Gaelic Park, he is always there. And even outside of Gaelic Park, he's frequently seen at Redond Park and Van Cortlandt Park. So to speak with him is just such an honor. And the success he's had with New York has been incredible. And I can't wait to see what else he has in store.
Thanks, Áine. It's a great
So
introduction.
you're more than welcome. But the thing is, though, your career didn't actually start in New York. Your career started from like the age of 13 or 14, and hurling has always been a big passion for you. You grew up in Kerry. Can you tell me a bit about what it was like growing up in Kerry playing hurling?
Yeah, so I suppose my home club is Causeway in North Kerry. So um I don't know if people are familiar with hurling in Kerry, but basically it's like a little, now we're delighted obviously that there's hurling, a lot of hurling being promoted now in Tralee and South Kerry and all that. But I suppose when I was growing up, there was a little pocket of hurling in North Kerry. There's 8 clubs, all right next to each other. So every time you played against someone, it was like every game was nearly a rivalry kind of, because you knew everyone so well. Um, I suppose we all started obviously under tens and twelves and all that, the same as the young lads do nowadays. But then we all went to Closer Comprehensive School. So like I would say like 95% of the hurlers from that area would have all gone to Closer Comp. So you'd have straight away been friends with the guys you were playing with, you were in their classes and all that. You were representing Closer Comp together with them. So everyone would be very close. So the rivalry then I suppose grew because of that. So would have played with Causeway in the club, Causes Comprehensive School, and then moved on to Kerry squads. So again, it's the same group of players. So like we would have had school teams that were very similar to county teams at the time. So like was in Kerry in the 14s, probably never made 24 stills or anything like that. Played for Kerry at under 16 level then, and never played minor. I was going through a parish rule thing at the time, where I wanted to play a club for a while. And then went on and played under 20 and senior with Kerry. So I suppose I didn't do too bad out of it all.
No, not at all. To play intercounty for Kerry is phenomenal. But then you also continued to play hurling throughout college as well. And to my knowledge, you had great success with that.
Yeah, I suppose I was very lucky. Was it, in I went to college in IT Tralee. So I was there with a great group of lads as well from all over Limerick, Cork, Tip, Wexford. There was lads from all over basically, but we played in the Ryan Cup competition in colleges, and I suppose we got to weekends, Fitzgibbon Cup weekends, loads of times and all that, but always lost in semi-finals, by the smallest of margins. Never really had any luck. And then I suppose my last year in college, then in 2007, I was lucky enough that a new group of first year lads came in, and it was a team that we kind of thought nothing of really, I suppose, and ended up going on to win the Ryan Cup that year. We beat Mary I, who are after winning the Fitz this year. Just shows where they've gone.
Yeah.
And we beat Ulster University then in the final. So yeah, it was great. And we had some really good players, I suppose, on that team. So the likes of Nicky Quaid, who's in goals for Limerick now. We'd Owen Ryan, who played for Limerick for a number of years. He's from Kilmallock in Limerick. And then we had a couple of other Kerry lads as well. So it was a nice team to be involved with, definitely.
I'm sure it was. And to balance that and your studies, it must have been very difficult. Was it hard to balance between the two, or did you always know hurling was your priority and you were always going to focus with it?
Yeah, I think it's probably didn't give the books enough time, I suppose. Growing up, I suppose growing up I was involved in loads of different sports. So like um soccer was a big one for me. Played a bit of Gaelic football, especially in college school and all that, and played a small bit of club as well. Obviously hurling was a big one. Played badminton. every sport basically I could, basketball in school. So I suppose the books kind of took into the background, but I suppose I was looking enough into the parents are kind of getting on to you and making sure you keep the head down. So
Yeah.
it was, yeah, busy. Especially my last year, like I hadn't played soccer in college all throughout, and then my last year I decided to play soccer and hurling. So it's fairly full on with that. But look, I suppose yeah, you got there, and I suppose the people you meet in the classes and all that, help you out as well, and everyone kind of works together to get results in the end of the day, I guess. So.
I can't even imagine what it was like balancing all those sports, especially because a lot of those sports are amateur sports, but you're kind of just like living proof that if you stick at your passion, you can make it into a career. And that's exactly what you've done. So you've been in New York for just over, no, just under 2 years now.
Yeah.
And already you've had great success. Did you ever think about moving to New York, or was it a very sporadic decision?
The end it was probably very sporadic. I went traveling like in 2011 for 2 years. Went to Australia, and I suppose when I moved home, I was kind of always thinking, oh, should I have moved home? But I
Mhm.
suppose I started my job. I basically worked in Chile. When I came out of college, I moved into a job with Kerry GAA, basically working as a games development officer in IT
Yeah.
Chile. And I suppose I did 4 years there, took a career break for 2 years, and I suppose I was working in sport, working in GA, and it was a job I didn't want to lose, because I enjoyed it. Like, you're organizing all things, GA wise, but a lot of the days you're getting into a bus or whatever, going after the game. So, that's your day job,
Yeah.
I mean, a nice gig, I guess, if you think about it. So, wanted to go back to that. So, came back from Australia, went back into the job, and so that was 2013. I suppose I'd been working in IT for another 9 years then, I guess. And I was happy out there. But then there was always this thing in my head, but I'd like to go away traveling again somewhere. And I was sitting at home one evening and I just seen the York GAA looking for games of Eamon for hurling. And I said, that sounds like a nice job. And I'd looked up it came across Mickey Quigg on Instagram, or not Instagram, LinkedIn. Um about a year before that, and I seen the work he was doing. He was working out here in New York as the hurling development officer and then the games manager, and I always thought it was interesting. And it was kind of because of that, I kind of became aware of what was going on in New York and then the GA scene, I suppose. So when I seen it advertised, then I just said, you know what, I'll apply kind of, for the laugh and see, if anything comes of it. And then the weeks went by, and I guess I got a call for an interview and stuff, and you do a bit more research, and you say, right, you know what, this would be a nice little change, and a kind of nice start again. So yeah, I got offered the position, and I didn't really have to think too long about it. I kind of just said, you know what, yeah, that's me. I'll go and try it out anyway.
I think a beauty about the GAA in New York is that there's been an increase in homegrown players. We have the likes of like Road Kennedy coming up. He was part of the New York college team, which had great success. And then he was also part of the senior hurling team, which you were highly involved in. And they secured the first ever Connacht Hurling League championship this year. Big congratulations on that. So
Thank
can you
you.
tell me a bit about what it's like playing with homegrown players and also players who have recently moved out to New York?
Yeah, it's great. I think it's great for both actually. As in, like we were delighted this year. We had three lads with Garrod, obviously, who's been done very well in the football side of things. But then he went to the World Games um last year basically, and with the New York Hurlers and performed very well. And then you James Breen, who again was on the New York panel for hurling last year, but he was a dual player. He was on the football squad as well last year, but he was the World Games captain, and again was excellent when they went home for that. And the other guy we had then was Pat Brennan, and Pat I suppose was the two boys be very well known, and Pat kind of came under the radar a small bit, but I wouldn't have known Pat at all until we started the World Games tryouts, and Pat came along to the World Games, and ended up being nearly one of our best players at it. He was brilliant. So we were delighted the three boys committed to the New York hurling panel. Then, it was great. I mean, they bring something different to the whole setup, I suppose. And then I suppose when you're mixing them in with the Irish lads, I think Garrod and James would have known a lot more of the Irish lads. Pat wouldn't have. So it was brilliant to see the way even Pat, mixed with the boys, and even the boys, how you could see them. Geez, Pat's a good player. they'd never heard of him or never seen him, and he was after coming out of nowhere. And it was brilliant to hear it. When they were complimenting him, after and all that. Plus how easily the three boys, mixed with him. And I suppose it's good for them then as well, just to see. Okay, a lot of the boys we have played at a high level. We've had lads that have been on Galway under 20s, minors. One or two lads that have been on Galway senior squads. We've had lads that played underage for Tip, Limerick. Guy there, Dara or something back, won an All Ireland medal with Cork under 20s 2 years ago. Dara Moran. So I mean, these lads have all played at a high level. So it's great for you know by the three lads there, the three American lads, to get the opportunity to play with these lads as well and see, okay, these boys have played at a really high level in Ireland. This is where we need to go as well. And
Yeah.
hopefully, like we'll have like now next, obviously, it's probably going to come up as well. We've got into the Larry Maher Cup now.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, we'd love, we could get even, more American kids playing. I mean, it's the one thing we got. I'm helping out with the Fela there every now and again. The Fela hurling, and we got Richie Hartnett and Dara Hines, one of the joint captains, to come in, and James Breen, who would have been the World Games captain for New York. So we got the three of them to come in to a session there about a month ago, and just talk to the lads. And I suppose it was great because Richie was able to talk to them about how where New York hurling is going. About how we started with underage teams, with World Games teams, Connacht League, and now we're at Larry Maher where we want to be. So and we're hoping to climb up through the ranks there as well. And I suppose the kids get to see I suppose the enthusiasm he has for it, and the plans that are there for New York. But then they also got to listen to Dara and James give their experience of playing underage hurling, and about like Dara playing it in Ireland, and what
Yeah.
he did, Fela and all that at home, and where he is now being captain of New York, and how important it is for them, to continue playing and to represent New York. But then from, I suppose, more local point of view, for the boys, to see someone like James who has, was able to say that he played with, New York in football. And we've a lot of, I think it's 7 dual players we haven't failed this year. 7 boys that will be playing on hurling and football in June. So I mean, that's a big number.
Yeah.
So it's great for him to see what James has done. He's played, he's football, and now he's playing, he was captain of the World Games team, and now he's playing with New York hurlers as well. So, it just shows that, okay, where they can go now as well, that there's pathway there for them. So it's no, it's great. I mean, there's great work being done by by people here in New York, and I mean, hopefully the long way continue.
We have to give big credit to those players because they're an inspiration to the upcoming players. But apart from those, I think the unsung heroes are the managers like yourself, because without those players, like we wouldn't have them unless it was for the embodiment of yourself, of Richie Hartnett, even Dara. I know he's a captain, but to see people like yourself on the sidelines for every single game, whether that's junior, senior, nursery, Bela teams, I think it's just such a credit to show that the community is consistently growing. And then we also have the Fela teams going forward. And to my knowledge, obviously, please correct me if I'm wrong, the Camogie team will be traveling to Ireland this year for the Fela team. And it's the first ever time that a Camogie team will be represented in Ireland for New York.
Yeah.
Big congratulations on that. And I think that's just a testament to show that the community is continuously growing.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the biggest thing I've noticed here. Like, I mean, people at home are asking me, "Oh, did you settle in?" But like, it's like moving to another village at home or another
Yeah.
town at home, because like, a lot of the people you speak to here, they're Irish background and all that. But like, there's huge work being done by the coaches here in the clubs, in all 4 codes, the hurling, football, ladies football, and camogie. I mean, there's massive work being done. The amount of volunteer coaches we have is unbelievable. Like, for example, just even, I suppose, one thing we done this year was try to focus on coaching courses.
Mm.
And we said, well, we'll run 3 coaching courses, one in Woodlawn, one in Queens, and one in Rockland. And by the end of it, we ended up running for introduction. So this is for, like, it's the old foundation. So for people starting out coaching, we'll say, we ended up running 6 instead because there was such a demand. Like we've over 100 new coaches qualified in introduction here, and then like we run an award 1 as well. We had like, I think we had the bones of like 60 new coaches there who are now award 1 qualified. I mean, it's just huge, the amount of people getting involved, but also the amount of people who want to upskill and, progress in their coaching. It's great. And I suppose that just leads into all their teams then. It's no surprise, or it shouldn't be any surprise that, okay, obviously we've, good numbers, great numbers here playing, but like, we go home. Well, last year we competed. We're Division 4 for Pale hurling, but like we were in the final of the cup last year, and they're training hard again this year. And I know they'll do very well. They're fairly driven group. Our football team play in Division 1 of the Fela, or boys football, and they were very competitive last year, and I know they're hoping to go on better again this year. Go a long way in it. Our ladies football have been the Fela Division 1 champions the last 2 years. So like they're doing extremely well. Again, a really good strong team this year. And I know that they're preparing very well as well. So they're going to go back to Ireland hoping to make it 3 in a row, and hopefully we'll do well. And I suppose the biggest one for me personally, I suppose, because I just think it's great for the people who have been involved, and I suppose it's great for the girls who are coming up as well. The Féile Camogie, like you mentioned, I suppose at that age group we really have, like the numbers they're tight. Like, I think we probably have, I think we have a panel of 21 going home now, but like there's probably another 5 girls at that age that really play the game, full
Yeah.
time, and who just couldn't commit for one reason or another. There's one or two of them in with the football squad, and they play other sports as well, in high school and stuff. So, they find it hard to do everything, obviously. But like it's great just because I just know the lads are involved and people are involved in that. And, for them, they went home on a development trip last year, and they really enjoyed it, and, done very well. They played clubs in Galway, Offaly, they were down in Kerry. They were in Limerick, played a number of games. So they done very well last year. And I suppose this was the next step for them then as well. So it's great now to see that they're going back to Wexford, I suppose, to compete in June in the Féile for the first time ever. So hopefully they'll enjoy that. And it's all a stepping stone. It's all learning for them as well. So
I know. So how many teams do we have going back in total? Is it four?
4 Féile teams, yeah.
Four
One
Féile
each,
teams.
yeah, one in each club, yeah.
Oh my God. And the amount of coaches and volunteers that must be behind that. But I think I was up in Gaelic Park when these trials were happening. And it's not like there was a struggle for players to be involved. To my knowledge, I think there was like 40 people trialing for the Camogie team alone. So I know a lot of cuts had to be made, but I think
Yeah.
there's like a development squad being created for the players that, you won't be traveling to Ireland this year, but we're going to make sure there's a team available for you so that you continue to play the sport of your passion.
Yeah, so I suppose what had been done in the past was like they do like 2 development days before the tryouts, and they'd come in and they just get a taste of it, and like you get big numbers in. So Camogie actually was probably the one of the smallest this year, but that's because it's their first year. They're
Yeah.
getting going, and the numbers are going to be coming on behind that. We've got 3 clubs in Camogie, and like under eights, tens, and 12s, like they're doing very well. They have a tournament coming up this Sunday, and uh, they all have good numbers going to it. So it's just that age group. I think maybe half due to COVID and all that, the whole thing was disrupted, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Uh, so this age group now, the numbers would be smallest, but like for example, for the Féile boys football, you could have up to 80 or 90 boys trying out. For the girls, you could usually up to 60 trying out, even if not more. So like there's big numbers. So we're okay. How can we change this up and I suppose keep them all interested, because this it's built up so much. I suppose Féile, which probably isn't the best thing either, that it's built up so much, because there's such a level of disappointment then if they don't make it.
Yeah.
So now we're, I suppose, kind of got on the route of, okay, can we look at like regional, divisional squads basically? So
Mm.
like teams that come together earlier, you know, do a bit of S&C work, maybe stuff like that. Just an introduction to it, introduction to nutrition and good habits, psychology, all that kind of stuff. Just little seminars and all that. So have different squads, and then they're put on the field, like, so assign coaches for different groups, and basically, we'll just say, for example, North New York, South New York, West New York, something like that. They go in, they come in, do their sessions, coaches in with them, who have gone through their award ones at this stage now, and who've good experience, and then bring them together for, squad games and all that, because I suppose that's another issue I suppose these failure teams have. You know, you put together the squad, but then they train and they've no one really to play. So like I know, for example, this weekend, actually the football team are heading to New Haven to play against the Boston Fela team. But like that's it, it's a nice trek in itself, and
Yeah.
that's not going to happen very often. Other than that, like I know the ladies football playing competition here, organised by the ladies football board, any Carney Cup, so that does benefit them. But games is the issue, or games of the same standard. So like I seen they're the Fela team the day of the Mayo game, or in the morning they played like St. Barnabas under 16s, and I think the Fela team, you know, won that. I mean, trying to find teams that of the same level, because if you're getting all the best players in one team, you're going to find it hard to get competition for them. So
Mhm.
that would probably be the one issue, I suppose, with these squads, trying to find games. So we feel okay if we put these division squads together. Now we're playing, against similar opposition, and they can be picking their panels for that. But also then we'll keep these squads together, and throughout while one group goes home for failure, we'll keep these squads together and try to create extra competition for them as well. So just keeps them involved longer, hopefully.
And why do you think there is such a big demand for players to be part of these Fela teams?
Um, Question, I suppose, like everyone has different reasons, I guess. But I mean, for me, looking at it, I presume they all want to represent New York in it, first of all. I mean, they see the buzz around New York right now, and they see the buzz around New York
Yeah.
GAA. I mean, if you were over in the field there, 2 weeks ago, or whatever, I mean, crazy numbers coming over from Mayo and crazy numbers there from New York, supporting for that game. And sure, a lot of them kids are over there and they're seeing, what's going on, and they probably have ambitions to play in front of crowds like that.
Yeah.
Uh, they probably see the amount of New York born lads on the panel now. I think it was 18 on the panel this year, which is, a great number. Like,
Yeah.
um, also, I suppose, look, the Fela teams here are looked after very well. I mean, they're kitted out the best of gear and all that, but they get to go home to Ireland. A lot of them probably have relatives in Ireland.
Mhm.
Get to play in front of them, and get to play in, top level competition. Um, they're looked after well. They get to play with better players. So I could see the draw for them. It's, I suppose, especially when they're growing up playing Gaelic football or hurling or ladies football, whatever it is, you're playing with the same, group week in, week out with your club and all that, and you're playing against all these other players. And I suppose when you go into these squads, you probably want to test yourself against these players then as well. And, you know, usually they come together and, perform quite well as a group then. So I think it's just a natural stepping stone really in the GA, isn't it? I mean, everyone wants to kind of play
Yeah.
to really, so
Everyone wants to play to the highest possible standard. But what a lot of these players won't realize is that when they grow up, and if they're living in Brooklyn or Queens, they will have to travel to the Bronx, like maybe 2 or 3 times a week to Gaelic Park for training. But despite that obstacle, there's still a huge amount of senior players that are commuting that hour and a half trek, like 2 or 3 times a week. I think Kennedy, who is highly involved in New York for both senior and hurling players, he said that he spoke to the Fela team this year and he asked them, why do you all want to play? And they all said because they want to represent their parents who left Ireland and are in New York, and they want to carry on this like passion that there is for GAA. And I think that's just such a beautiful concept.
yeah, team was helping out with it was the colleges team, I think it was. And yeah, they had I think during one of their meetings they got them to write down, what were the key reasons they wanted to be involved, and like that was one of the big ones. Yeah, just like everyone wants to, go back. I suppose it's kind of getting back in touch with your Irish heritage and,
Yeah.
represent your families. And like, I mean, I even seen it with the hurlers there. I mean, I suppose a lot of the hurlers, fair enough, yeah, have their family, excuse me, they had their family in Ireland. But when we went to the Dome, like with the biggest crowds there with New York, which you'd be kind of saying it's kind of strange, but sure, it makes sense because sure, all their families are coming from all over Ireland, wherever they're
Exactly.
based,
Yeah.
come to watch them playing because they don't see them in so long. But it's the same for the American lads. I mean, I don't know James Breen. His family are,
Mm.
up, grew up here, but like his family are, I think, is Kilkenny, and I think he had some family there, from home and all that, watching him, and so like anytime these people or these kids go home or whatever, they basically whatever family background they have, normally they come and watch, and see how they're getting on, because I suppose they don't get to see. It's different when you're at home, a good chance your uncle or auntie will get to see you playing, whatever, whatever. But I mean, if you're based in New York, they'll probably wonder, okay, what's the standard like,
Mm.
you know, in
And like
how
the
are they or
pride,
whatever.
like it's just the pride alone that we feel watching them continue to play hurling and football and camogie. And just going back to January where the hurlers played in the Galway Air Dome, and you won, I think you had 13-point victory over Mayo, 11-point victory over Galway, and a 21-point victory over Leitrim. Like that is phenomenal score difference between all those three games. But the pride that we felt watching everyone on the screen cheer, celebrate after seeing you win your first ever Connacht Hurling League title. Like it was just such a beautiful moment. And then obviously you're going back next year for the Lorimar Championship, which is even better. I know that's been a dream of New York for several years now. So to see it finally coming into action is amazing.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I know that like I'm only here, like I said, close to 2 years, but I can see like how much it means to the lads involved and how much it means to the people here in New York. I mean, there's all the lads, who obviously aren't involved with the team would say directly, but every time you meet them, they're asking about it, and
Mm.
do you think you get into Larry Maher, or what's the next step? And it's kind of like a huge burden or a huge relief, gone off, the fact that we've been accepted into it. Like I know, like the Richie Hartnett and Joan Henchy and probably a lot of other people have been working on this, long before I got here. And I'm absolutely thrilled that, I get to experience this when I'm
Yeah.
here. It's even just being involved in that kind of league with the lads was a great way for me to settle into New York life. Straight away I met 30 new lads, that you become friends with,
Yeah.
so it's a great way to help you settle into it. But no, it's huge, pride, I think, to represent New York. Like I see it in all the players, no matter where they're from, whether it's the homegrown boys or whether it's the lads from Galway or Limerick or wherever. Like they have as much pride in that New York jersey as they would for their county jersey, because this is their home now, and
Yeah.
this is where they're going to continue their life, for whatever. For some it'll only be for a year, for others could be, for the rest of their lives. So I mean, this is it for them. This is their opportunity to play at a really high level. And getting into the Lorimar Cup is going to give them that platform, I suppose, to display, I suppose, what New York can do. Like you go to, again, I mentioned at Gaelic Park there 2 weeks ago, you see the pride all those boys having represented New York against Mayo. And I mean, when they're out in New York, they probably move out here for jobs or for different reasons, we'll say. And this is just an added bonus. I mean, I know, like I know some of the Kerry boys, for example, and they may never have thought again, my God, to get to play in front of, like, I don't know what was there, 6 or 7 thousand people again, and
Yeah.
such a chaotic atmosphere in Gaelic Park. Like it was brilliant for them. So I can imagine the amount of pride they had that day, and represent New York. So we're hoping now that next year that when we do get into that Lorimar, all the best players, American born, Irish born, whatever, everyone basically want to put their hand up to be involved. And again, that we'll take our squad home, and that again they'll have the same pride and passion as they would have for playing for their club at home or playing for their county at home, and that that bringing that forward, we can do well, together, I suppose, and represent New York in the best way possible.
Today is actually a really big day for GAA in New York because for the first time ever, there'll be games held at Redond Park. And this will secure the first ever permanent base for underage games in New York. And I know you were highly involved in that. So big congrats to that. And I'm sure you'll be making an appearance up there today.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. I mean, it's going to be a massive boost for GA here in New York. Right now, as we speak, the first ladies football game is on there. St. Bridget's are playing Rangers in an under 12 game. So that's on right now. And then at 2:30 p.m. We've all our games starting. So basically, we have a development division. It's seven-a-side games basically. So we play, like, we have 18 U8 teams coming in today, playing in a football blitz. So like serious numbers coming in and serious work by the clubs to get them all in. We've got under 10s, 12s, and 14s. So we'll probably play like 60 or 70 games there, seven-a-side games there today, from 2:30 p.m. to about 6:30 p.m., I would say, and all the different age groups. So it's going to be a busy first day there. But yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be it's going to be great. They had a blessing there last night. For the Redond Fitzgerald was over there instead of a mass, just to get the field blessed and all that.
Mm.
And it was a nice turnout for that as well. So it's huge. It's a huge amount of work after being done by the likes of Danny Brown and the minor board. So it's great credit is due to them. So look, I mean, it's going to be a huge addition to New York GAA going forward.
Oh, you're insanely busy, so I definitely have to let you go. But just before I let you go, obviously, big congrats on Laurie Maher, the Fela teams, the Camoga teams. Big congrats on absolutely everything. You are definitely a massive idol to both players and managers in New York, and I hope you're aware of that. I know the Irish people tend to not compliment themselves, but definitely pat yourself on the back. You deserve it. Just before I let you go, can you tell me if you had to pick your favorite memory of GAA today, whether that's hurling, football, watching a game, or winning a medal? Can you tell me what would that moment be?
Um, Probably have like three. That so
Okay.
for me, I suppose I didn't get to play for a few years because of a parish rule issue, I suppose, at home. So I guess I still remember my first game back from my club was this county league game against Ballyduff, who would be like our local rivals. So for me, just being able to get back, and it was my first senior game ever playing, so that still sticks out in my memory, very much so. Um, we won a Christian Cup medal with Kerry in Croke Park in 2011. I was cornerback on that team, and that was just unbelievable. You know, growing up, you always want to try playing Croke Park, and to eventually get to do that. And my brother was on the panel as well, and along with him, and a lot of my friends. So that was a brilliant memory to have. And I suppose my club caused them won a county championship in 2019 for the first time in 21 years, and being involved in that was unbelievable as well. I mean, just seeing the emotion on all the players, but also I remember going home to the village that night. Just seeing what it meant to people. That was
Yeah.
unbelievable. So, hopefully, I can add a Larry Maher or something like that in the next couple of years with New York as well. So,
I hope so too. Thank you so much for speaking with me, Eamon. I really appreciate it. And we
thank you,
wish you the best of luck going forward.
thank you.
Oh, you New York girls, can you dance the polka to me? Why, you Santy, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can you dance the polka? And when we got inside the house, the drinks were passed around. The liquor was so awful strong, my head went round and round to me away. You Santy, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can you dance the polka to me? Why, you Santy, my dear Annie. Oh, you New York girls, can you dance the polka?